If you are researching Excellence Coral Playa Mujeres for your destination wedding, you are in the right spot. If we don't know each other yet, my name is Becky from the blog travelagentbecky.com, and I specialize in destination weddings that happen in the Cancun and Riviera Maya area, which is exactly where Excellence Coral Playa Mujeres is. Today, I'm giving you the complete breakdown, everything you need to know about planning a wedding at Excellence Coral Playa Mujeres. It's a lot, so let's dive in. First, let's talk about the overall vibe and location of this property, because if that's not a match for you, then the rest of it's just a moot point. Excellence Coral is about 25 minutes north of the Cancun area in the Playa Mujeres, Costa Mujeres area of Mexico. So again, this is north. It's in a private gated community. There's not much else up there except for resorts, and it's guarded. This is not in the hotel zone. We are further north than that. So this is newer builds. This is a little bit quieter. This is not spring break or super party, but it's a little bit more quiet luxury. Excellence Coral is an adults only, all inclusive resort that sits on a beautiful stretch of beach. If having a great beach is almost near the top of your list, you're going to want to keep the Playa Mujeres and Costa Mujeres area in your short list. This property I like to call kind of a medium-sized property. It's certainly not a huge mega resort, but it's also not a small boutique property. It is shaped pretty much like a U, with most of the amenities being in the middle and a very easy place for everyone to meet. When I was at Excellence Coral several months ago, I created a video going over all of the wedding locations that I will link here for you. I recommend you go through and look at them, but I do want to talk about some of the popular options. Beach gazebos are almost always a hit, especially if you want something later in the afternoon when it's not peak direct sun. The beach gazebo here is a little bit off to the side and has this nice wooden walkway that I love, so you don't have to have your toes in the sand necessarily if you wanted to wear heels. The Oasis gazebo is typically everyone's first choice when they reach out to me. They want to know what it takes to lock that in and how to go about it. The nice thing about Excellence Coral is there's typically only one wedding a day, although they may allow two depending on their size. If there's two small weddings, they might allow that. In order to lock in the Oasis gazebo, you do have to have a wedding that's large enough. Because this is their largest wedding location apart from the ballroom, you really have to make sure that you fit the space. So if you're coming in with a micro wedding, you won't be able to guarantee or lock in that Oasis gazebo until much closer to your wedding. Let's talk about money and packages and the breakdown of which package could be right for you. Again, I've covered this. I do have a video on it that I will link here that breaks down the full wedding packages and what they cover. Essentially, Excellence offers two wedding packages, a very small one that's intended for 10 guests or less, and then a larger one that's intended for 20 guests or more with an add-on fee. The Everlasting Memories package is the larger one, and it's the more inclusive option. It's what almost all of my wedding couples choose because it has so much included. If you compare it to wedding packages at other resorts, I do find that it costs a little bit more, but you're getting a lot more included. So for my wedding couples who are looking for a value to get the most out of their money, this is almost always on my short list. I will say though, all of the decor is going to be very basic to non-existent. And so that's where most of my couples are spending their extra funds. It's going to extra florals, extra decor, extra lighting, and of course, a lot of them are bringing in their own photographers and makeup artists. Let's talk about the wedding groups themselves. Wedding groups work very differently at Excellence Properties than they do with almost any other resort brand. In order to qualify for the wedding packages, you're going to need at least 90% of your wedding guests to stay on site with you. They do that so that you don't stay somewhere else down the beach and then have all your guests walk over. That doesn't work for them. They want to fill the rooms at their resort. So 90% of the guests coming to your wedding have to stay on site with you. That means they're going to be booking the property as well. And Excellence offers some great group perks. While you are booking your wedding contract, you're also going to be talking with a group's specialist or your travel agent, well, if you've hired one. And they are going to work together to create a wonderful, seamless experience. all the group perks that you earn can be applied to your wedding or to events around your wedding. So depending on how many people you bring to the resort, depends on how many perks you will unlock. Of course, the more people you bring, the more perks you will earn. Perks can include discounts on rooms. They can include extra time, like welcome parties. It just really depends on what your contract looks like. And of course, I recommend you hire someone who will walk you through that. Not all travel agents deal with groups or weddings specifically. And so it's important that you pick someone who does, and they can actually help walk you through what the contracts mean and then set you up in its basic foundation to make sure that everything you're doing lines up for you to be successful and to stay in contract. While you're doing your group with Excellence Coral, it's important to know you won't have a room block. Again, this is something Excellence does very different than every other property, but you will instead have a promo code. So your guests will take that very long promo code to the website, plug that in, use that promo code to unlock some discounted rates, but also that creates their wedding list. So when your guests use that promo code, the resort knows they're included in the wedding party. They use that promo code to make sure that everyone who's attending your event is actually supposed to be there and you don't have any gawkers. Again, this process is what's really frustrating to a lot of people because it takes a while to get started. Once you send your initial email, it can take a few weeks to hear back and see some proposals, and then you really have a short window to start making some decisions. I recommend that you hire someone. I know it's an extra spend, but hire a specialist who can help you determine is what you're looking for going to work within this contract and how to set it up so that when you're inviting your guests, everyone knows they have to stay here. Wedding specialists do this as the job, and it's important to know you don't have to. Hire someone, take this burden off your plate, right? You hire a mechanic, you hire a hairstylist, you can hire a wedding specialist to help make sure this goes smoothly for you. And of course, this is different than your wedding coordinator on site. Excellence will provide you a wedding coordinator to help handle all of the event functions. So once you get closer, your actual wedding coordinator will reach out to you. They will share with you who their preferred vendors are, and you can start communicating with the preferred vendors as well so that you can really start planning the actual event. So you can hire a travel agent who specializes in weddings to help you manage contracts, to help your guests book, to help manage the flow of the actual travel while you deal with the wedding coordinator on site and plan the wedding. It's very common to not hear from your wedding coordinator in a timely manner. So I think here in the US, we're used to response times quickly and usually at the latest 24, 48, 36 hours. That's pretty standard response time for businesses. That's not how it works when you're a wedding coordinator in Mexico. These folks are working their tails off, boots on the ground, actually planning the weddings happening every day on site, as well as answering emails and planning with you. And so it's important to recognize that, especially during peak season, November to April, your response time will be slower. It doesn't mean that they're not paying attention to you or that your wedding's not valuable, but just know that this is what they do and they're used to the flow of things. And as you get closer, you will have more of their attention. It's not uncommon for them to prioritize the weddings in front of them versus the emails. And trust me, when it's your turn and you're the wedding in front of them, you will want to be the priority too. Excellence Coral is not the right resort for every wedding. So let's talk about who I think is a great fit to get married at Excellence Coral. If you are looking for adults only and you are looking for something sophisticated and not wild, if you are looking for a wild party property that's adults only, this is not your option. If you're looking for quiet luxury without the luxury price point, this could be it. It's understated, it's modern, it's beautiful. I think the sweet spot for wedding sizes at Excellence Coral is 40 to 80 guests. More than 80 guests, it tends to get a little complicated, and they don't have necessarily as much space or wedding options for weddings of that size. They're just not a gigantic mega resort. And so for bigger weddings, 100 guests or more, I like to recommend different properties. But if you're thinking even 30 to 80 guests, I think this could be a really good choice for you. If you're looking for your guests to not have to pay an arm and a leg, because of the way the groups are set up, right? So if you're bringing more than 10 rooms, so more than 20 guests, you definitely qualify for some group perks and some group codes, some discount codes, that promo code. So make sure that you really take that into consideration. The prices you're shopping on the website are not going to be the prices your guests are offered. So if you're looking and you think, gosh, this price is a little high for my guests, actually, if you're bringing enough guests, we can ask for a group discount and still accommodate your wedding. Not all resorts are offering discounts for groups now. And so it's important that if price is a part of the issue, let's pull a group proposal for this and see what they're coming in at, because recently I've seen them as low as 40% off. If you're looking for something easy for your guests, I like this. The transfers are included in your guest cost. A car will be waiting for them at the airport to take them to the resort and again back to the airport at the end of their stay. So I love that it's all included, it's easy, and again, if you don't want to be managing that, you can absolutely hire a travel agent that specializes in this. Every day in my email are people sending me their flight details so that I can coordinate their transfers. That is not something you want to be doing as a wedding couple. You can hire that out to someone who can coordinate and plan that, because we want to make sure that every aunt, every uncle, every cousin, every grandma, every parent has a ride from the airport to the resort. You don't want to be dealing with that when it's that close to the wedding. You want to be focused on your partner, focused on the event, and handling the wedding coordinations. All right, let's answer some of my most commonly asked questions from wedding couples when they are considering Excellence Coral Playa Mujeres. I get this one all the time. How far in advance do we have to book our wedding? And here's what I'm saying. If you are booking a wedding for peak season on a weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, in peak season, November to April, I want 16 months in advance. If you can give me more, that's great, but I want 16 months if you are planning a peak season weekend. And honestly, I can't even guarantee that I can get you your first choice resort at that. Of course, the further out we go, the better the odds. If, however, you're willing to look at something else, maybe a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday option, then I don't need as much time. I like 12 months. What happens if it rains on our wedding day? This happens, right? It just happens. You're in the Caribbean area, it can rain. Even in the non-rainy seasons, it can rain. So there are backups. Excellence Coral does have a ballroom. It's beautiful and it does open up into a covered terrace. So we could actually have that space as well. And you kind of have a little bit of flow. The Oasis gazebo is technically covered, and you will be a part of the decision as long as it's not hurricane extreme weather. So if you think it's just misty and you still want to use the Oasis gazebo, that'll be a decision you make with the on-site coordinator. That could happen. However, there is an inside ballroom if we need to switch. Can our guests extend their stay or come early? Absolutely. I like to say that we have 7 days in our promo code. So your guests will get 7 days that they can use. I like to have you tell your guests, though, that 3 of those days are required. So if you're coming to our wedding, all of the events are going to be this day, this day, this day, and you have to be here these days. We need them to overlap in order to qualify and stay in contract. So that's another reason we do that. However, we do have days early and we have days on the end. If you want to extend your stay at the discounted rate, we'd love to have you. We'll be here from these days to these days, etc. But we really need to focus and make sure everybody's overlapping their stay on those 3 days. Can we do a legal ceremony at Excellence Coral, or does it have to be symbolic? Technically, you can do a legal ceremony. It's going to cost extra and it's going to be outsourced. They do not have that person on staff. Getting married in Mexico is a little bit of a headache, I'm not going to lie. And so about 99.9% of my weddings are already married. Almost everybody is getting married at the courthouse in their home state, just doing it with a witness, signing the paper there. And then the pressure's off. You get to come down and do this beautiful wedding without the pressure, and you get to know that you're already married. And most people don't even think about it or talk about it. Your guests don't have to know that you're already married. It's not a big deal. Everyone's doing it this way. And so you get to just enjoy the wedding without the actual overhanging paperwork. Are you ready to explore Excellence Coral for your own wedding? I have linked down below lots of information. My complimentary phone call schedule is also down there as well, so you can grab a spot on my calendar and we can chat to see if planning a wedding here is perfect for you. If you're not quite ready for a complimentary call, no worries. I also have free planning guides and links to my blog and all kinds of stuff down below in that section, so make sure you're checking out the info section. I'll also be answering questions about Excellence Coral in the comments. So any questions you want to see me cover, make sure you put those in there as well. Thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed if you want more destination wedding planning content, and I'll catch you in the next one.